Very, very happy to be 3-0 headed into our SEC opener. Um, thought our kids did what they needed to do to win the football game Saturday. There were a lot of things we did well. Some things we can certainly be better at. Offensively, 0 penalties and 0 turnovers. That's a good way to start. And scoring on 5 of your first 6 possessions was really nice to get off to a faster start. Special teams had some good things. Kickoffs and kickoff coverage was really good. Field goal team was solid. Good to see Alex getting more strength, and I think that's getting better each week to help us with the field goal opportunities we may have. Defensively, we still held a team to, I think, 3.3 yards per rush or so. So that's solid, but definitely could clean up a lot of things. Our missed assignments went back up, which we're not happy with, and we've got to get that certainly cleaned up before Saturday. But great home crowd, great homecoming, and excited to be 3-0 headed into our SEC opener.
Start with Jason. We'll go Jason, Mike, Nathan, and then Jake.
Hugh, obviously, Brent Venable's defense, when you watch those guys, what stands out to you about the way they play on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, they've only given up 1 touchdown this year, and they're not. They're very stingy, very physical. Obviously, last year had good experience against them, and he does a great job, and he's got great players. And this is when I watch the tape, I'm looking to me at a team that should be in the playoff discussions. They're that talented and that good, and it looks like just you're watching around. I think our league is very, very deep, and I think we're playing one of the better teams in it this Saturday, and that's probably going to be the case for the next few Saturdays. And that's why you come to Auburn. That's why you coach. That's why you play here. And that defense is one of the more talented ones I've seen.
Coach, you've got 3 full games worth of tape on Jackson Arnold now here at Auburn. What's your assessment of his game headed into Oklahoma, and what things are you hammering down with your quarterback?
Yeah, he's been very solid. He had, the first game obviously was what it was, and he did what he needed to do for our team. Second game, he completed 80% of his passes or so. That's pretty good. He's taking care of the ball. Last week, his passing stats weren't great, but some of that was some drops too that we had. But I thought his decision making was really good. And number one, again, it starts with how do you judge a quarterback, and that is wins and losses and the turnover battle. And I think he's done those extremely well, and he leads our team well with he's got this competitive spirit about him, and it's going to be needed in the upcoming games for sure. But I think he's in a good spot, and obviously we haven't been tested like we're getting ready to be tested, so we'll see how we perform against some of the best teams in the nation the next few weeks starting Saturday.
A couple days after Saturday now, those injured guys that you went down the list of, anything severe, or do you expect all of them to make good progress this week?
I expect them to make good progress. If I had to say today, I would think the biggest concern would be Amaris. Damari, obviously, again, you haven't let him go live yet, but I would be shocked if he doesn't give it a go. And so I think everybody else will try. I think that's the biggest concern I'd had today would be Amaris.
Yeah, question here. There's been some hand-wringing in certain circles about you guys not throwing the ball deep enough, not trying to throw the ball deep enough. What do you think about that? Are you satisfied with how often Jackson's throwing the ball deep?
Oh, I'd like to throw it deep more. I would. I think those deep passes that are completed are really good. The ones that are incompleted are not so good. But I think we've got the threats to throw it deep, and hopefully we can be a little more aggressive maybe and more consistent in throwing it down the field.
Hugh, through 3 games, Kieron's leading the team in tackles and sacks. Where have you seen him develop most as a guy who got a late start to football?
Yeah, I think his off season, obviously, Vontrell and Rock have done a good job coaching him on techniques and things, but I think the biggest credit probably goes to the time he spent with our strength staff, gaining more flexibility, more strength, more size, and I think that is translated into him playing better football.
You talked after the ball game about playing so many freshmen. I think it was 13 or so that were playing. Who are some of the guys that are really pushing for even more playing time now among those guys?
Well, I say Newboy and Winters both are pushing, and I don't know if pushing is the right word or proving that they deserve some time in our rotation back there, and the linebackers are playing, so it's not like they're having to push. I mean, those young guys are playing. You know, X, Diaz, Melendez, they're playing. So we're young in the middle of that defense, and it's really going to be tested in the next few weeks. It'll be a good test for us to see where we are with those young guys. But Woodby is another one that's pushing to get some time at nickel. So playing a lot of kids there. I think I saw a stat somewhere where we played 20 freshmen or redshirt freshmen in the first 3 games, and that's good and bad. I think it speaks well for the recruiting we've done. Also, they need some time to develop. And so I'm always trying to give them some leeway for people to be patient with them and us be patient with them and as they develop, because they're going to be really good players.
Jackson's return to Oklahoma figures to be a big storyline on the broadcast, not to mention probably a lot of fan attention. In situations like that, when you're coaching guys facing former teams, especially this high profile, how do you approach that?
Well, the good thing is I've had personal experience with that. I've had to go back in a place where that I enjoyed coaching and won some games, and had to go back in there and take another team in and play. And that whole week, it was a challenge for me not to think about some of that. I know the same will be true for Jackson, but he's very mature, and he doesn't give any credit to any noise or talk. I mean, he's a pro. We all understand that, people might cheer for him, boo him, whatever it is, but I think he's mentally strong and is more about preparing. And my advice to him is, man, just keep the focus on our team. And that was my advice to myself. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about our team preparing to go in to play. I don't know what they're ranked now, but I think they're a top 10 team. So that's where the focus needs to be, and all the rest will subside at some point, and it will be about what we did on the field. And so that's my advice to him. Same thing I told myself going back into Ole Miss when I was at Liberty.
Coach, wanted to ask about Eric Singleton Jr. Just what have you seen through the first couple games of his Auburn career? What does he bring to the table?
Very solid contributor. He is what we knew he was. He's good in the pass game, good in the run game, very high football IQ, runs great routes. And so we're thrilled we have him. I think he's produced very nicely, and going to need him to play big in these next few games.
You, going back to last year for a second, big pass plays cost you in at least 3 games that I remember. And you've given up some this year too. What do you think is causing that, and what can you do about it, basically?
Yeah, we went through all of those yesterday, and some of it's technique that we've got to coach better. Some of it's miscommunication by some of the young kids, and But it's, again, it's like I told them this morning in the team meeting. We've got to quit feeling like we have to be perfect, and when you're not perfect, having a long face or that ain't gonna get it. I mean, there's really good football teams and really good coaches that are going to have a good plan, and somebody's going to make plays on you. It's about playing the next play and the next possession and getting the things we did not do properly corrected and being able to do that within the course of a game. And you can't do that if you're still worried about, well, I didn't get this done and I'm down on myself. And some of the young guys kind of look that way at times to me. And so the whole message was, man, you held a team to 15 points and we didn't play our best. We've got a lot of things we can improve on, but the one thing you got to know headed in, if you watch all these games, I mean, heck, there were games that were 40-41, and I'm sure they didn't feel like they played great at times, but yet you've got to make a play at some point to win the game. And so you can't worry about that last possession. You've got to get ready to play the next one, and I think that's the growing that needs to happen right now, so that DJ and his staff can get things corrected for the next drive without you being clouded by, well, I just messed that up. Well, let's get it fixed and don't mess it up again. But you got to let that go and play the next play.
You rotated in a bunch of guys, especially on defense, through the first 3 games. Do you think you dialed that back a little bit for SEC play?
I don't think so. I haven't talked to DJ specifically about that, but we've been trying to get ready for this moment by playing those young kids, and because you're going to have that depth in these games, and somebody inevitably will go down, and if somebody's got to step up and do that, and for us, it's going to be some young kids that are in those roles. So I don't see it really. I think offensively, you've seen kind of who we're going to play. And defensively, I would expect to see pretty much the same.
You mentioned the decision-making from Jackson, really just the offense overall, converting in the red zone early in the season, converting on third downs, going into a game like this against a high-level defense. How pleased have you been with that aspect of things, and how important is that execution going to be?
Yeah, that was vital to our offseason and our whole focus was, being good in the critical downs and red zone, and thus far we have been. Again, we haven't faced a defense like we're getting ready to face, and they're going to make a lot of teams not do so well in some of those situations. We've got to find a way to be in manageable downs for sure, or it's not going to be a fun night if you're trying to do that against that defense. So to this point, we have improved, but now it gets, the test gets harder.
For Jason, Dan, and then Mike. Hugh, the pass protection on Saturday looked like it was a big step forward from what you guys did against Ball State. Just from your perspective, how clean did that look, and how important is that going to be to, keep that up going on the road to Oklahoma with their defense and that crowd? Yeah,
I thought the pocket was clean most of the night, and he had plenty of time to go through his progressions, and thought we strained better. And we actually worked hard on that last week in practice of making the play go longer than normal, and making a strain an extra second, and we certainly will need to strain to find a way to protect. This team has harassed the quarterbacks extremely well in their first 3 games, and have tremendous pass rushers off the edge, big physical guys in the middle, very good at their disguising their pressures. So it's this again will be a bigger test than what we've had, but we certainly, I thought we improved from week 2 to week 3.
John Mateer on the other side comes in, obviously familiar OC with him. What do you see out of that side of the ball with that dynamic kind of playmaking quarterback?
Yeah, he's very talented. Runner, thrower, competitor. You can tell that team follows him, and he's their go-to guy in critical downs for whatever they need, and he's got the ability to do it, and he has really good skill around him. Those receivers and tight end are very talented with a really good O-line, solid running backs also. again, you watch the tape, you think this team is one of the special ones, and he's a large reason.
Coach, you mentioned earlier Amaris could be a question going into Oklahoma. What would be the plan without him? Who could be in line for more playing time?
Well, we've been rotating guys that are good. Probably Jared Smith would be the first one that would pop off my head as a guy. You know, we're going to play Chris, and we're going to play Keyron, we're going to play Keldrick, and probably Jared would be the next guy up. We can move Z out if we need to, but probably Jared Smith.
Coach, can you talk about the chess match of having a starting quarterback who was the starting quarterback at Oklahoma last year, and what kind of things do you lean on Jackson to maybe give you guys an edge, some intel? Like, how much can you trust to lean on?
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that. We've talked about the stadium atmosphere and things of that nature because I've never been there, and I assume that it's going to be like an SEC stadium, and he confirmed that. And how tight the benches are, he says. I don't know a lot about that, but apparently it's really, really tight. But as far as schematics, we're going with what our breakdowns say and, you know, what we see on tape from this year and get a game plan that we hope gives him a chance to have success. But really haven't talked about anything else other than that.
Yeah, question about Alex. Just, I mean, is he at a situation now where you think he's getting better every single week and getting 5 or 10% stronger, where he's going to be ready to go in October, maybe?
Yeah, we feel that way, and again, I don't, you know, I want it to keep trending that way, and but it appears the latest treatment that he's getting is definitely helping him eat better with nutrition and able to eat more, and which is gaining him more strength. That's what we have felt these last 3 weeks, and I have no reason to believe it's not going to continue. But obviously, when you have a condition, you're always kind of, I bet, a little apprehensive to say that he's going to get better every single week. But we sure hope that's the case.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Yep, thank you.